The next guest, Annemarie, all the way in South Africa. And this is part two of her insightful thinking. Talk about think differently, Gerard.
Enjoy.
So all of us have to solve problems all the time. Whether you are a parent, I think more so parents, when you're a business owner, there's just constantly problems that you need to think about and that needs answers. And it is so that we are in such busy times. There's such a demand on our time, whether it is communicating with clients, whether it is communicating with your team, whether it is just keeping your business afloat. There's a lot of noise going on the outside. And then amidst all of that, there are these problems or challenges that needs attention. But it's very difficult for our brains to get to a solution when we are in the middle of so much noise. So what we need to do is to take a step back and get a little bit of distance from ourselves and from the problem. And it's often when you do get that distance from the problem that on the way back home in the car or having a shower, you remember, oh man, his name is John, or I should have thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? And it's exactly for that reason. It's when you have a little bit of distance from the actual problem in that specific time that your brain gives you the answer. So when you look at neuroscience and what happens in the brain, we tend to solve problems the way that we used to solve problems. We use our old ways of thinking to solve problems because that's the wiring. That's a highway now. Your way of thinking is a highway. The wiring is a highway in your brain. And we have a specific way of thinking, and through that specific way of thinking, we have a specific set of assumptions. And with that set of assumptions, we push alternatives out, literally. So there's no new space. We activate a specific map, and this is how we're going to solve the problem. And there's just no space for anything new. And that's why it's so important for us, two things, in order to solve problems. Firstly, is to have someone to challenge your set of assumptions and to challenge your way of thinking. And secondly, quiet time, downtime, that you get some distance between yourself and your thinking. We tend to think we need to work harder at a problem and we need to think harder to solve this problem, to get to a solution. But that's very often not the case. Very often it means close all the files on your computer, close all the files, get some distance, and the answer will come to you. And this is the way our brains have been designed. So when, as a leader or as a business owner, when you do have to solve a problem, what I could recommend that's really crucial is to get a thinking partner. That person can be a mentor, it could be a coach, it could just be a very good friend that you have a lot of respect for and that you will listen to what that person has to say. But a thinking partnership really means that your thinking gets a bit of airtime. You get to put your thinking out there, and in that thinking partner, your assumptions can be challenged so that it can open up new pathways for alternatives and new ways of thinking, which is very hard to get to when it's only you by yourself. Also important, as I've mentioned, is to take some time off, to go and play that game of golf, to go and have a coffee with a friend. It is good to, in that moment that you feel it's just overwhelmed, it's just too much, get a little bit of distance. When you get to the team, for example, it is excellent coaching, because coaching will also give your team members that clarity of distance. As soon as you are standing outside the problem and you're not one with the problem, you are more objective. And that person will be able to teach your team how to think about problems in a different way. If you, for example, look at Google, one way that they do it that is very well known, the way that they're having fun. I mean, their whole setup, their whole environment is set up to have fun. And as soon as you do have fun, your thinking is also more creative. And it really shows in how they go about, and with the amazing thinking that Google comes up, the amazing ideas that they come up with. This is a good example of how fun in your environment can also influence the actual outcome. It is true that an aware mind is also a disciplined mind. And a mind that's not aware and that's not disciplined, you get controlled by it. You don't control that mind. That mind controls you. It's literally like a monkey that's tied to a pole. It's just so busy and it's up and down and it keeps you busy, but not really with the stuff that you want to be busy with. A mind that's aware and that's disciplined and that's quiet, you can control, and you can have, in other words, access to alternatives and to more insightful thinking. And as soon as we do have access to more insightful thinking, our quality of work will also improve. So the real key sits in getting clarity of distance, either through a coach or a thinking partnership, or taking time out. It doesn't mean that you're lazy or that you can't handle difficult thinking or solving a problem. It just means that you are intelligent in the way that you're trying to solve a specific problem.